To help sexual assault survivors across New York State opened up Tuesday. It'll house thousands of sexual offense evidence collection kits that have not been released to law enforcement. Now, this will ensure survivors have time to decide whether they want to file a police report. Right now, nearly 10,000 kits are in storage across the state, and that number is only growing. The new facility will provide a secure location for them for up to 20 years. So joining us live now is Director of the New York State Office of Victim Services, Elizabeth Cronin. Thanks for joining us, Elizabeth. Now, this facility, it's something that's unique. So what's the significance of opening up something like this, and what's the process like to get this up and running?
Thanks so much for having me to talk about this during Crime Victims' Rights Week. So this facility is a recognition by the governor in the state of New York that crime victims, sexual assault survivors do not always experience their trauma in the same way, and that we are encouraging victims to seek medical and psychological assistance if they need it, and to get the help they need before having to make any critical decisions about whether to turn their kits over to law enforcement. So they can go to a facility to get an examination. They sign a document as to whether or not at that time they want to have the kit turned over to law enforcement. But this gives them an opportunity to reflect, to be able to talk to friends and family and make an informed decision about whether or not they ultimately want to proceed with a prosecution.
Now, this is a place you mentioned where people can get medical care. So what specific services are offered there?
So this facility will only be housing the kits themselves. What we encourage is that victims don't wait until it's too late. So if they are the victim of a sexual assault, they should seek medical attention at any of the hospitals in New York State. They can get a medical examination paid for by my office. It's completely confidential. There's no requirement for them to report or have the kit sent to law enforcement. And if they make a decision at some later point that they want to have the kit tested, then it will go from our facility to law enforcement. Or the victim can make a decision at some point that they wish to have the kit destroyed. They don't want to do anything further with it. But we feel like this gives victims agency over evidence that is from themselves, and that they should have the right to make decisions about this.
And survivors can have the evidence kits stored there for up to 20 months. Can you just elaborate on that? Why the 20 months? Why is that such an important time frame?
Actually, it's up to 20 years.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty significant. Originally, under the law, facilities were only required to maintain the evidence 30 days. And it was not consistently maintained across the state. Every hospital seemed to have their own processes. This didn't seem fair to victims, especially understanding trauma, and how long it can take for somebody to feel that they're in a position to make an informed choice. So the state in 2018 extended it to 20 years. And that was one of the reasons why we decided to have a central facility so that everything can be maintained in a climate-controlled, state-of-the-art facility, and that victims will have the option to log on to a portal. They can track where their kit is, and then they can make decisions how they want to proceed. And in fact, we've already found in the short time that we've been opened that one victim decided to actually have the kit tested by law enforcement. One person decided to have the kit destroyed. So it gives them the opportunity to make that choice, which is really critical in someone's healing.
Right. You have more choices and more options as a survivor. So if somebody's interested in learning more about this facility or using it, who do they need to reach out to?
Well, what will happen is that the hospitals that maintain the kit, as they are making the process move to transfer the kit to the facility, they have to reach out to the victim, and the information will be contained there about accessing our portal so that they can then register and get the information themselves. They won't have to rely on somebody else.
Great. That was Elizabeth Cronin, Director of the New York State Office of Victim Services. Thank you so much for joining us here on Midday.
Thanks for your interest in this.